What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, for those of you who do not know me yet. And today, day trading, I made over $4,000. It was actually $4,500 to be precise between two different accounts. But today was such an incredible day, packed full of opportunities, that I just wanted to do a recap and describe how I was able to make all this money today. Because it's honestly still pretty surreal that I'm able to make this much money. I know I say this a lot, but I'm just a dude who sits in my basement, man. I literally sit in my basement, I drink kombucha, and I make thousands of dollars a day. Like, life is good, man. So I want to help you guys get to this point, so that's why I'm making this recap video. There were some seriously crazy opportunities today. Some of the guys I follow made some nuts trades. Shout out to Jack Kellogg. He made like $100,000 on the trade that I made, I don't know, way less than that on. So I want to go over that particular stock, what made it such a great setup, and basically give you guys the rundown of how you guys can recognize these patterns in the future so that you can bank off of them as well, because this is just easy money and you do not want to miss this. So let's dive into my laptop so you guys can see the actual charts, and I'll show you guys where I bought, where I sold, etc. So let's do it. Also, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, because I make these videos every day and they're pretty helpful. I talked about these setups actually yesterday in my previous video, and do me a favor, like this video if you find it helpful by some point, you know, by the end of the video. I'd appreciate it if you liked it. And that's it. So let's do it. All right, guys, so the main two tickers that I banked on today were ETCG and HTZGQ. And these are both ones, again, that I put in the video yesterday saying they were pretty overextended and I would be looking to short them today. And this one did exactly what I was expecting, but I really butchered this opportunity, man. So again, shout out to Jack. He absolutely nailed this one on the short side. So I said it was a good short because, number one, look how overextended this chart is. If I go to the 1 day, 1 year, it came from $4.67 back in October and went all the way up to 96 bucks. Honestly, the most recent run was coming from 30 bucks and it went as high as 97. So when you get 4 green days in a row like this that are just ridiculous, it is very likely that it's going to pull back extremely hard at some point. So when I see a chart like this, I'm thinking a first red day is a beautiful, beautiful short. My biggest mistake on this one was not taking bigger size and not being more patient. And I think I'm like that because I'm very risk averse and I hate taking big size on a short right at open and then having myself go negative on the day and I have to dig myself out of a hole, which is very frustrating. So I typically am not aggressive right at open. Jack shorted 5,000 shares at, I believe it was 89.30, if I'm not mistaken. That was his entry. So literally short right here with like almost a $500,000 position. And I think he ended up covering for about $100,000 gain right down here. So almost 20 bucks a share on 5,000 shares. Absolutely nuts trade. I mean, he must have covered that like right down here, somewhere in this area. I mean, it's just nuts. It's just nuts. Or maybe he covered here and then he made 20,000 going long, something like that. This is just such an epic trade, guys. So I actually ended up shorting only 50 shares because I did not have the nerve to take big size. So I ended up shorting 50 shares of this thing. Let's see, right at open, literally right at open. But I didn't, I guess not right at open. I waited a minute and I got filled at 87.50. So I was short 50 shares from 87.50. So right from this area right here. And what ended up happening was I covered way too soon. And what I've learned is, in my experience, on sketchy stocks like this that go up too much, if I short into a bunch of weakness, I end up screwing myself over. So I shouldn't have covered it all at once. But again, I shorted 50 here at 87.5 and I covered it all right here at 83. So I shorted small size here and covered it all here. By the time it was down here, I may have actually tried to reshort, but by the time it was down here, I couldn't in good conscience justify reshorting here because it's, you know, there's a decent chance that it bounces, and when it bounces, there's so much buying pressure that it's impossible to get a good fill once it's already bouncing. So if you're covering into that, you just get absolutely screwed, especially if you short right at the bottom. So it really stinks, but I think on setups like this that are such high quality, overextended supernova stocks, this thing went absolutely insane. You really got to be more patient. And I could have been a little more aggressive. Now, I guess what I was risking, you know, is that it doesn't break down past this level and it ends up ripping past these highs and breaking through 100. But the chances of that after, you know, 4 green days in a row, after it went red were honestly pretty small, especially after this bounce, which allowed for a better entry than if, you'd been shorting right here. So easy risk of off a 96, but it was just tough, man. It was tough to take big size on this. Shout out to Jack, man. He absolutely nailed this. But here's the thing, guys. When you see a chart that looks like this on the intraday, it comes down here and looks like this. To me, this is an epic buy. This is an epic buy. So I didn't have enough buying power to buy big size, but when I see something like this, I try to buy this. So I ended up buying, and I think I got faked out on one of these bounces. I may have tried to buy here, and I ended up cutting it, but I did nail this one. And let's see where I got in. So I ended up buying, let's see, 71. No, I may have gotten faked out here. So yeah, my best dip buy here was I bought 50 at 67.25. 67.25.5. So literally, literally I bottom ticked that absolutely perfectly. I literally bought right at the bottom just with tiny size, guys. So again, I should probably take bigger size on plays like this. The issue for me is now that I have my Schwab, not just my Schwab, now that I have my E-Trade up and running, I can actually, do that. I can take big size and not worry about using my buying power. But today, I hadn't gotten the E-Trade Pro platform downloaded yet. And on Schwab, again, when you use your buying power on OTC stocks, which this actually is an OTC stock, you don't get that buying power back. It's for whatever reason, you can't margin OTC stocks on Schwab. So if I bought, 100 shares, that's $8,000 of buying power, or I guess, 6.7 grand of buying power just gone. And in a small account like this, $60,000 account, I don't want to waste all my buying power when I may have to cut it. So that's why I went smaller. In the future, I would definitely go bigger on a trade like this because, again, when you see something sell off like this, that is an epic bounce opportunity. And it did end up bouncing pretty nicely. And I sold my entry from 67.25. I sold half at 72.99. And I sold the rest at 71.75, so that was pretty nice. And let's see. Then, yeah, I guess the main point is, guys, there were just a lot of plays on this, and I really wish Schwab had the order entry page, not page, like symbol. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the other brokerages, like, I'm not even sure which ones. Like Cobra, if you use DAS Trader, they will actually put something on the chart where you bought and sold. For whatever reason, none of the brokerages that I use can do that. Maybe you guys know how to do that, but I sure don't. So at this point, it makes it a little difficult for me to show you guys. But here's the greatest thing, because on plays like this, you get a mini bounce, and then the bounce fails. That is another great shorting opportunity. Now, I just so happened to miss this one because it was still, down so much that I was worried it would just end up bouncing higher than this. But I should have known, based on how overextended the chart was, it had more room to fall. So another nice dip buy here. And another nice short opportunity because literally you just risk it making a new high here. This was an epic short right here. Beautiful sell-off, instant resolution. I covered too early as always. And it did make a higher low here. Started to bounce. Another great long opportunity. And then it bounced all of up here. I caught this pretty much perfectly. I caught this one pretty much perfectly. Let's see where I ended up shorting this one. I caught this one pretty much perfectly. I can't find my entry, guys. I can't find my entry. But I caught this one pretty much perfectly. And yeah, okay, so I got this at 78.98. I shorted this at 78.98. So pretty much the exact top here. Like right there. I shorted like right there. And I sold I covered way too soon, guys. And this ended up breaking below the low a day. I probably covered this all like, I don't even know, bro. Like right here. So I got to learn to be more patient on plays like this. I really do. And that's something that I'm really bad at because I've seen so many times where these sketchy stocks come back and make a new high a day after something like this. So it's a little tough for me to be patient, but this thing was absolutely beautiful. When it broke that low a day as well, that was another great short. And I shorted a little bit here, but it was a little choppy. It wicked and it scared me out. So I missed all that downside. But then it did have a really nice bounce off of that. And there was just, there was a lot of opportunities on this stock. I butchered it. I butchered it out of the gate. in the future, on a chart like this, when it's up 4 green days in a row and it goes red, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive. That's just something that I'm going to have to do. And if it means I take a loss, I think it's worth it because statistically, it is such a good setup that it's worth it. Now, the other play that I want to talk about today, HTZGQ. And I also talked about this one because it was very overextended, in my opinion. It was very overextended. And the chart is not as crazy overextended because, you know, I guess it's not straight up, but it's up from like 41 cents, a bankrupt company, as high as over $4. And just based on the chart, I figured this thing had room to break down a lot. So when it started selling off, I started shorting this thing. I started shorting it, and I ended up covering way too soon. But this had a lot of really good dip buys and a lot of really good reshorts into those bounces. And I did that multiple times on this chart, and I absolutely banked. And I took tiny size, guys. I took tiny size. I was short pretty much 1,000 shares max for most of this, which, you know, is a $4,000 position. Which for me, I mean, that's not really a big position. I'm not saying, oh wow, I take huge positions, but if I could have, I probably would have shorted more here. I would have shorted 2,500 shares or maybe 5,000 shares, honestly, because it's a great setup. And this was just an absolutely epic panic short and then panic dip buy. So I shorted here and I dip bought here, and I ended up losing on this trade. Even though I tried to sell up here, it did not let me sell, and I ended up selling for a loss here. But then I switched short, made some bank here, covered, reshorted here. I don't want to click. My goodness. Come on, guys. Remove draw. Really? Let's just make this a huge drawing. And then it went down again, and I left a ton on the table here. But man, there were just so many great trades. Just so many great trades, man. I love it. I'm trying to see. I mean, I just wish I could see my entries on the chart, guys. I know it would help you out a lot. I don't know if you want me to say my entries, if that would be helpful for you guys. Man, I mean, it was just epic. I don't think there's any other word for it. And into these bounces, man, this is one of those examples where you want to short into the bounce because that's an easy play. Even if you miss the dip buy, there's always a great shorting opportunity into the bounce because normally once the bounce fails, people are like, shoot, this is going to keep going lower. And this was another great short opportunity. But the thing about this one is it did not break down that much lower than the previous low. And when that happens, a lot of times it's a choppy, slow bounce, and then it will go significantly higher. So on this one right here, when it didn't break down more, I said in the Discord, I was like, yo, this is probably going to bounce higher, maybe all the way up to 350. It actually broke above that. It actually did break above that. And I ended up reshorting here. I think I banked on this one. I think I may have gone long on one of these. And just so many great opportunities, guys. So many great opportunities. So when you see charts like this, guys, it reminds me of February. Because these are the type of volatile moves that you can make so much money on. You can make so much money on these. When you have a chart that's like, I don't know, pretty much back and forth, yeah, you can flip it. But there is not nearly as much room to profit as when you get these massive panics and then these beautiful, like, fake out bounces, bro. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So I'm very grateful for this chart, and this is just a perfect example of why you got to be ready when these opportunities present themselves. Because, I mean, I made more today than I made in a long time. And if I had stepped away, I would have missed this great opportunity. I mean, all of this took place in like an hour. This entire thing took place in like an hour. So less than an hour, honestly. And then obviously, you know, there were some nice bounces, but just absolutely beautiful, guys. Absolutely beautiful. Again, I wish I could show you my entries on the chart. If some of you guys know how to do that on Schwab, oh my gosh, please let me know. That would make this way more epic. But this was a beautiful short, absolutely beautiful short, and something that I want to talk about real quickly. If I zoom out just a little bit, you can see here this consolidation area kind of right here, you know, right in the middle of this consolidation, right where that bounced. That was the perfect bounce area. You guys can see that. You know, once it cracked down under this support area, I mean, there's really not much left. And this was also a perfect fail area for that bounce, which makes sense. So I just love support. I love technical analysis, guys. If you learn to recognize this stuff, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. It's going to make it a whole lot easier. So I don't know what opportunities are going to come out of this stock again. Hopefully it runs back up so we can short it again. That was just epic. absolutely epic. A bankrupt company, I feel like it shouldn't be up this much, but who knows, man? Who knows? So hopefully the next time we get an opportunity like ETCG, I cannot butcher it because this was just absolutely incredible. I have no other words for it. I mean, that was an epic bounce. We had epic sell-offs. I got to be more patient. I got to at least keep some shares. And, you know, man, 100K on that move. Big shout out to Jack, man. Big shout out. But, you know, I got to be happy. You know, I'm happy with 4K. It's still a good day for me. And I'll look to continue scaling up as I get more comfortable, get more confident on these plays. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. Hopefully you found this trade recap helpful. Man, if I can get Schwab or something where I can actually show you guys my entries, I feel like that would definitely be even more helpful. But I think the most helpful thing, as always, is hearing this live in the Discord. So if you guys are not in the Discord yet, definitely check it out. Link in the description, because I called these plays out as they were happening, exactly when I was buying, exactly when I was selling. HTZGQ, I nailed a lot of those. I think I might have muted myself for some of that part, unfortunately. But just epic plays, man. Epic plays. Love days like today. Feels like February. February every day was like this, honestly. So if we get more opportunities like this, the market gets hot again, woo, we're going to be making some bank, baby. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, you know the drill. Let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.